Olivia and James have been together for 11 years. James had a wonderful relationship with his wife. Mutual respect, affection, and care might be used to describe the two of them, but this was not always the case. When they started dating, she caused quite a few scandals for her future husband. The calm James tolerated all the scandals without responding in any way, and the girl gradually ceased behaving in this manner. When James had decided to propose, he had sensibly reasoned that he needed more money for his family, and his current job didn't provide that level of income. There was enough money, of course, but more was needed. So he went to his father, who advised him to join their business. That the job needed brains and diligence, but it was well compensated. The only drawback was the regular business trips. James decided to propose to her. After some thought, James agreed. The task was enjoyable for him. Olivia was always supported by her older sister and her husband when he was leaving. Olivia's parents were gone before she even graduated from high school, and her elder sister took on the role of a loving mother. She would occasionally phone Olivia to see how she was doing, what she had eaten, and how her personal life was doing, FEE. The sisters were 12 years apart in age, and the younger was irritated because the elder felt she was stupid. Initially, she frequently yelled into the phone, "You're not my mother." Then she hung up the phone and sniffed tensely for a long time, contemplating how to upset her sister even more. But as a youngster, she had become accustomed to Olivia's tantrums, and she had a tolerant disposition and couldn't take offense at her sister for long. Only after a while did the younger sister realize how much she had hurt her sister. If Chloe got married to William, Olivia was overjoyed that her favorite sister had achieved personal happiness. James and William were fast friends. When William met his wife's sister, he kept reminding himself that he was married to another woman. So he quietly sighed for Olivia for a year until one of the family holidays, which were customarily celebrated out of town. Olivia unexpectedly entered his room with a clear intent, and meetings became permanent after that night. James was completely unaware of his spouse's exploits. He had no idea that a potential family crisis was unfolding behind his back. If it hadn't been for chance, the lovers may have continued to deceive everyone for a long time. Olivia and William have never before allowed themselves to remain apart for extended periods of time in their relationship. Short encounters had taken place at her house, in the absence of her spouse, or in a car someplace near the city. For the first time, the cheats decided to do something new and uncharted. They went camping together for a few days, It was a thrilling experience for them. William informed his wife that he had been summoned to the headquarters of the firm where he worked, and Olivia informed James that she and her friends were leaving for a scenic location far from big city. Of course, James trusted her since he had no reason to accuse Olivia of anything illegal. A phone call woke James up on Saturday when he was sleeping in his hotel room on a business trip. He successfully ignored it the first time, assuming he'd sleep some longer. But the caller persisted and phoned back numerous times more. The frustrated, sleep-deprived guy responded angrily. "James, he heard in the telephone the anxious voice of a neighbor who lived in the flat below, and his tone of speech quickly changed. "I'm listening. Is there a problem?" The woman said that water was gushing from her ceiling, and that she went to the apartment that's above their apartment and nothing leaks in it. So the issue was located at her and Olivia's apartment. James stiffened, knowing his wife was out of town and wouldn't be back for another 24 hours. He should contact William and Chloe to fix this situation. James thanked the neighbor for the call, quickly dialed his William's number and called, but he didn't answer. His subscriber is now unavailable. The man cursed and phoned his wife's number, and she didn't answer either. He held the phone so tightly that his hands trembled with rage. Chloe responded very instantly. She listened to her son-in-law's narrative. "Where's Olivia?" The woman asked the obvious question. James shouted in her ear, "Gone out of town." "She didn't say anything to me. The truly list of people and William departed, and I'm home alone." Chloe mumbled. His phone turned off. Unlike James, who was unaware of his wife's adultery, Chloe was well versed in her husband's affairs. He was clearly having an affair. She just didn't know who she was with yet. And now that she'd learned from her brother-in-law that both her sisters' and husband's phones had been switched off while they were both out of town, she recognized it wasn't a coincidence. But so as not to scare James, she didn't speak of her suspicions. She assured the concerned man that she would rush over to their house, turn off the water, and address the situation. He thanked her heartily before falling asleep with heavy thoughts. Chloe drove to her sister's house. When the lady entered her in-law's apartment and went to the kitchen to turn off the water, she spotted something on the kitchen table that shouldn't have been there, her husband's wristwatch. She was certain that James did not wear such a watch, preferring a more athletic design, and it was difficult to misunderstand what she had given a few years before. 2 letters were engraved on the back of the dial. They were the initials of her spouse. Chloe's heart constricted with agony. She was terrified of informing her son-in-law. He may not believe it, and he may berate her. After all, she may have made it all up. Perhaps the watch was there by chance, when William dropped off her sister's groceries so she wouldn't have to lug big bags from the shop. But her intuition told her it wasn't the case. James didn't stop Chloe's airing a covering. He couldn't believe what he was hearing, but she had a powerful case on her side. The watch. He advised her to wait until he arrived in town so that the two of them could apply pressure. The woman had planned a special meal for the day she and James promised to denounce the traitors. They both refused to deny what they had done. When James addressed them with the major question, William and Olivia nearly instantly said yes. There was no use in continuing the supper after the confession. The lovers apologized to their other halves, packed their belongings, and left. James and Chloe sat across from one another, their mouths wide in shock. After the divorce, James didn't want to hear from his ex-wife, but information would periodically reach him. He was aware that William and Olivia had gotten together and even had a kid together, but she discovered him in bed with an unknown woman after 3 years of marriage. In some ways, James was relieved that his ex-wife had gone through what he had. The man gloated. Olivia had fired the boomerang, which had rebounded with a clear, hard strike, shattering her whole life. Thank you for listening to the story to the end, and if you like it, please support us with a like as well as subscribe to our channel. And in the comments what you think about the story.